Yo, what up guys, Travic here, and today I want to talk about my Season 11 League starter for Project Diablo 2. Very recently, I was able to play in the closed beta and test out a bunch of things, and today I want to talk about my plans on how I'm going to League start. First and foremost, I do plan to play Assassin. I am toying with the idea of Paladin, so there may be a Paladin video floating out there that talks about a season starter, but this is one of two ideas that I'm torn with. Currently, Assassin has a place in my heart unlike every other class in the game, and today I want to talk about the absolute bare minimums that you need to get started in farming on Season 11. Now, today's video is pretty much going to do a couple of things. We're going to talk about the outright most basic of basic gear that you need to get started to farm, where you can farm at different breakpoints, and how you can pretty much progress your character from, normal to nightmare to hell, and where you can get your early league starting currency. Before you right now, you'll see that I have a character. It is level 77. It has no stat points in. This is on purpose. And it has no gear on. This is on purpose. The gear in my inventory, very simple. These are just res charms. These are very basic charms. Yes, I know somebody's be like, oh my God, all res life charms are not basic. You're right. But the idea is to simulate random resistance charms to get you some resistances to get you started. That's why we don't have full lifers with resistances. The reason we're doing this is I just want to showcase what it would be like on an extremely early start to have the most minimal of gear to get started. So for all of my testing today, we're going to have as little gear as possible. First and foremost, when the league and the season starts, you're not going to have gear, you're not going to have charms, you're not going to have anything, and you're going to need to know how to level your character to get to that end game grinding. So first and foremost, here's where we're at and here's what we're going to do. I plan on starting to level with fire, and that's as straightforward as it comes. Fire traps are unbeatable in the early game. They're great in Nightmare Cows. They are a fantastic way to get farming and started to get into hell, and that's my plan. So you're gonna see very quickly, we max out Fire Blast into Wake of Fire, into Wake of Inferno. These three skills, you see we have nothing else set up, is everything that you need to get started to farm. And they just kind of showcase that. You can see that we're in Nightmare. We don't really have a whole lot going on. I haven't even completed all of my extra quests yet. I haven't gotten any extra rewards on any of the difficulties. And we're just gonna throw in a Wart Slag and just showcase what it's like to farm very early. Wake of Fire is an absolutely fantastic trap. It does a whole lot of damage, and it allows you in an extremely early game scenario to be able to hop in with no gear at all and start just clearing cows. Now, of course, as you get a little bit of extra gear and you get a little something, cows will go a lot faster, your farming will be a lot quicker, and you'll be able to kill content without really too much struggle. The big reason why I'm spending the minute in showing this to you guys, and I want to show you, is that you don't really need a whole lot with Assassin to get started. You need a little bit, a couple of levels. You need to get into Nightmare. You need to get your Wake of Inferno leveled out, and you're able to just kill cows. Now, as I get geared up and I put more gear on, I get some plus the skills with some very basic stuff, my lore helmet, my spirit sword, that farming will go a whole lot faster. But the whole point and purpose right now is to showcase just how to get started. From level 1 all the way until you're in hell, you're pretty much just gonna put your points into Fire Blast, Wake of Fire, and Wake of Inferno. Any extra points that you come across can go right into Burst of Speed to give you a little bit more movement speed. You could put them into Fade to give you a little bit more resistances, but you do not need a whole lot to get started and get farming. Ideally, you'll go through Nightmare, or you'll go through normal, you'll go through Nightmare, you'll do your Bale games, you'll get into Nightmare Cows, and you'll need to start farming to get into hell, and Nightmare Cows is a great way to do it, as Wake of Fire. Now you say to yourself, well, I farmed a whole bunch, I got a little bit of gear, I'm able to move into hell, how do I continue to progress my character to the next steps? Well, for me personally, once I get into hell, I'm planning on respecking my character and taking full advantage of the free respecs that you get in Act 1, 2, and 3 to really push my character to the next steps. So what does that mean? First and foremost, by the time you go to hell, in theory, hopefully, knock on wood, you have a little bit of gear and you can start putting in some stat points. We'll be doing the whole respec thing, and we'll just be able to put some gear on and just really get to farming. So we're gonna throw a couple of pieces of gear on. Very basic boots, resistances. These boots don't really offer anything. These gloves pretty much aren't doing anything either. I assume you'll have found some random stuff by now. you know, whether it be some random nagel rings, some this, some that. You know, we're not even going to put a body armor for this test, and we're not really even going to put in any dexterity because we don't need it. Now, as soon as you get into hell, your character is going to look like a mess. You're not going to have cap resistances. You're not going to have this. You're not going to have that. You'll probably have a body armor. You'll probably have a helmet. You'll probably have an amulet. You'll probably have a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. But let's talk about what we need to really start getting farming. Didn't give me gold. Okay, cool. So let's talk about what we need. I needed to make sure I had some gold. Closed beta is sweet, man. You get to like spawn in all kinds of stuff. If you haven't been in closed beta in this, I really suggest either getting to 99 in the next season or killing a tier 2 boss, because playing in closed beta is awesome. So we get into hell. We're ready to farm. It's like hour 10, 12 of the league, and you don't know what to do. Well, as for me, for Assassin, I'm going to be respecking, like I mentioned, and I'm going to be respecking this time down the lightning side of things. And we're going to get Chain Lightning Trap, and we're going to max out the Chain Lightning synergy. So we need Lightning Sentry, Charge Bolt, and Fire Blast. So we have Fire Blast, then we're going to need Charge Bolt. We're going to pretty much just max out these synergies. Because what we're going to be doing is, since we're not through hell in theory, we need a new place to farm. And we need to be able to get that currency up to get our character nice and geared. A lot of people never really talk about the early level farming, so I was always kind of like in a pickle of where to farm, how to farm, what to do, and I want to make sure that you guys don't ever fall into that same issue I fell into. Now, once I get my character through some nightmare cows, I get some gear rolling, I do my fire traps, and I convert to my lightning traps, I'm going to be coming to the Arcane Sanctuary. And I didn't believe it was good as anywhere near as people said it was. I was a little skeptical, but once I started to see the light and see how strong it was, I decided this was where I wanted to come to farm. Now, Arcane Sanctuary is located in Act 2. You have to get up through Act 2. You have to get through the Palace Cell to the Arcane Sanctuary. And this is one of those zones that can either be your best friend or an absolute nightmare. Arcane Sanctuary has 4 distinct paths to it. You can see there's a path here, there's a path up north, there's a path down south, and there's a path out over this way, and each of them offer a variety of different obstacles. This one has a teleport pad, this one has some stairs, this one has some stairs, and this path this way is a completely flat surface. What I was told for farming, and this is the advice I'm going to share for you, is that when you do your Arcane Sanctuary runs, you want to do them as fast as possible, and you want to do them on the flat side surface, which is always across from the teleport side. What this means is when I start, if I see stairs, I know that stairs are always going to be across. So if I come up this way, I see stairs, there's always stairs down below. And then you check the other directions, and if you see the teleport pad, you know you're going the right way. Now, what's really cool about Arcane Sanctuary is outside of, you know, champion mobs or big tier mobs, nothing is lightning immune. And with extremely basic gear, you're able to come into here and just start farming. And the reason why we want to farm Arcane Sanctuary is the ghost. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to showcase these ghosts to you in a second, and you're going to see just what I mean. So we're going to be looking for, let's get these guys out of the way. You can see we're actually clearing everything minus this champion guy relatively smooth and easy. These guys right here, these little specters, these are what we're going to be farming in our Arcane Sanctuary runs. Essentially what happens is those guys have better loot tables in terms of the following. They are more likely to drop runes, as they can't have a lot of the other stuff on their loot table. So we get to take advantage of them dropping runes or having a higher probability of dropping runes. So what we get to do is we get to respec to lightning traps, because nothing outside of the occasional champion mob is immune to lightning. And we get to come down here with a very basic level 23 light. Now you can see it's already starting to drop runes. Come down here with a very basic level 23 chain lightning, and you're able to, you know, assuming that you're not yapping as much as me, come down here, throw some traps, and just start, you know, moving and grooving. Now, in terms of overall gear, what you should be doing, what you should be grabbing, pretty much at this stage, you know, we're talking like hour 10, hour 15, morning 2 of the league, because you're going a little slower. You know, you're not really going to have a whole lot. There's not going to be a whole lot of gear that you can mess around with, so you're going to need to farm. So pretty much the gear that you want to use, you want to make sure is the outright most minimum of minimum gear to get you rolling and starting. Because, like, for me, that's going to be the case. You know, I'm going to be playing either with my friends, or I'm going to be playing alone, or I'm going to be doing this, or I'm going to be doing that, or I'm not going to have time. and I need to know where to farm and how to farm to get me through hell to be able to push into maps. Now, Assassin's one of those classes that just has this really unique, wonderful opportunity that it doesn't need a whole lot to get farming, just like, say, a Holy Bolt Paladin or some of your other really good options, where you're able to just, like, not really think, start blasting, and just get moving along. My plan for the season starter is to clear like you see me clearing here now. You see I'm getting random runes, I'm getting random amulets, I'm getting some, you know, some topazes, some jewels, some charms. I'll get all a bunch of stuff that I can ID, and my plan is to pick up as much stuff as I can from Arcane Sanctuary and move my character faster and faster and faster, being able to do these runs in no time at all. The more gear I get, the quicker I'll be, the more I'll farm, the more runes I'll see, the faster I'll be able to push my character. The idea behind doing this and farming this is because it's very quick and because it's very easy, it allows me to take really good advantage of my character's natural ability to kill. On top of that, if I get lucky and get a couple of good drops, whether it be a high rune or something I can sell, I'll be able very quickly to be able to sell my runes and buy an ohm rune. The idea with my assassin is I want to be able to put my assassin into maps as fast as possible, and I want to be able to play Whirlwind Assassin because Whirlwind Assassin is an absolute monster of a character that can blast through maps very easily. It has no issues at all. It can go through pretty much all the content in the game. I played it last league and it was just out of this world, and I would love to revisit that character again. But to get to that character in a league start scenario, I need to have a plan and I need to know what I'm farming. And that's what I really want to take a couple of minutes and showcase here. Now, as I had mentioned, you really don't need a whole lot of anything. Like, we're talking level 20 chain lightning traps. We're gonna come down here, we're gonna take our gear off, and you're gonna see our traps by themselves, just with straight synergies, are very strong. And we're able to just still, no problem at all. You see, we can clear all the content. We can even take our rings off if we're feeling a little adventurous, take our boots off. You really don't need anything as assassin to get farming, and it's just it's insane how powerful chain lightning traps are. The hardest part about doing this farm is literally getting to this farm. Getting through Act 1 hell is probably going to be the thing, but you know, we're talking about like a league start. There's a bunch of people playing. You'll probably be able to make a public game, you know, and you'll be able to get through it. And it'll just get a little bit easier and a little bit easier. Now, too, at this stage in the league, you've probably picked up a mercenary. You've obviously picked up more gear than the 0 gear that my character's wearing right now. And you'll be able to just, like, kind of go through this content without really too much stress or pressure at all. And you can see, like, even as I, like, run through these things, I'm taking hits. You know, it took a while to die there. It was not like this, like, bada bing, bada boom, get hit and die. You were able to take a little bit of a hit. Now, your character too will eventually level up. You won't stay at level 77. Your character will have gone through the quest. You'll have completed, you know, we got the point there. You'll have completed other things in all the other difficulties. You'll get all the extra reward points and all the extra skills, and your character will be a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger. And like I had mentioned, eventually the plan is to get our character to a stage where we could start putting on bigger and better gear and start farming things like a treachery. You know, getting something as simple as treachery will just push your character to new lengths of power to really start to get the ball rolling. Now, in terms of early gear, what to expect, what to go for, like I had mentioned, we can go for a spirit sword, a spirit shield, we can make a lore helmet, we could save up eventually, we can get a treachery, we can grab any kind of gloves that we want, any kind of boots that we want, any kind of rings that we want. And ideally, what we would do to push our trap character to the next stage of just craziness is you're gonna wanna get any amulet that offers you plus the skills. I have just a Maris, for example. You just want anything that offers you plus the skills, and you'll want any weapon that gives you plus to traps or plus to specific traps or plus the assassin skills. These claws, they do exist. You can find them, you can buy them. I believe you can still get them in Nightmare 2, but I know Anya, you know, if you come to Anya and you talk to Anya and you hit trade and you go to weapons, Anya does sell you claws. You can just kind of bounce in and out of here, and you can look for different claws, and you can just kind of like do some shopping. Shopping for assassins is insanely strong and insanely powerful. You can also find weapons inside of Nightmare Cows that'll really get you what you want to be doing, and you'll be able to move along. Now, as you get a little bit more gear and you put on like some plus the scales, whether it be from trap grand charms or claws or a trap amulet, and you get your chain lightning a little bit higher and a little bit higher, you're gonna notice right away that our ability to farm starts to go a lot faster. You'll see right there, you know, just look at a couple of levels, look at how much faster we're able to do this. And we just have less fear and less fear and less fear as we put more and more gear on. And we're able to just, like you see, you know, throw a couple of traps, get moving, throw a couple of traps, get moving, throw a couple of traps, get moving. And you'll have bursts of speed because you'll have levels, you'll have gotten quest point done, you'll have saved Anya a couple of times, you'll have more resistances, you'll have more stats from Act 3, you'll just have more overall stat points, and you'll, in theory, have a better character than what we're playing with right now, because you'll just have picked up more things off the ground than the random stuff that I've managed to put together. Now, the last thing that I'm going to leave you guys with is, why are we farming this and what are we looking for? Well, first and foremost, we want to push our character deeper into hell, like I had mentioned. And the big takeaway and the reason why we're farming Arcane Sanctuary, like I had mentioned for runes, is we're looking for either one specific rune or one way to trade for this specific rune. Now, personally, I think it's going to be a little bit hard day 1, day 2. I've been told otherwise, but ideally, we would love to find an Ohm rune or be able to trade for an Ohm rune as quick as possible. The be all end all goal is to create a chaos weapon in some sort of war fist base, ideally F, but the goal is for day 1, day 2 to get to this weapon as fast as possible. The Chaos Claw Assassin, being the Whirlwind Assassin, is a whole nother beast, and that's, you know, we're gonna save that for another video. But my goal is to get this weapon as quick as possible, hopefully by the end of day 2, maybe sooner, so I can push into maps. It's not very hard to get into maps, but if you can get this weapon as fast as possible, you'll be blasting without a problem. So let's quickly recap. Act 1 normal, we're gonna start with Fire Blast. We're gonna level Fire Blast until we get to Wake of Fire. We're gonna get to Wake of Fire, we're gonna level Wake of Fire. Eventually we're gonna fill out the synergies for Wake of Inferno. We're gonna do that through Act 1 and Act 2. We're gonna farm Nightmare Cows if we need to push us into Hell. We're gonna get into Hell, we're gonna clear Act 1 Hell, we're gonna get to Arcane Sanctuary in Act 2, and then we're gonna respec our character coming down the way here and grabbing Chain Lightning Sentry, Charge Bolt, and Fire Blast, leveling our character to give us everything that we need to farm Arcane Sanctuary until we get a nice big drop, or we get a bunch of small little drops that we can trade to get to a high rune. The goal is to get the Chaos Claw as fast as possible, put on Chaos Claw, and start really blasting. Now, like I said, I'm going to save Whirlwind for the next video. So if you like this video and you like this content, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, turn on notifications. You don't want to miss that one. But like I said, Chaos Claw is a whole nother beast, and we should be able to clear all content in the game relatively easily. But for now, friends, I'm going to get this video out to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.